Hey guys, I just thought I'd make another video before I go home. Excuse me. We're supposed to have some bad weather tomorrow and Monday, so I may not be making any videos. I don't know what's going to happen. We may lose power. I hope not, because it's going to be so cold, but we'll just see what we can do. But I probably won't make any videos the next 2 days because I won't be able to upload them, so after that I'll try to make some other videos. But I just thought I'd make one right now on a subject that kind of influences me, and it's really a subject about being a social outcast. And I don't know if any of y'all ever felt that way or ever had that kind of problem, but I did. And if you don't know what a social outcast is, not getting too technical, but you know, it means that you weren't really accepted by any group or anybody really, but mainly group. We didn't have too many groups that I was with at school, but I wasn't really accepted by anybody. I wasn't accepted by the jocks, even though I fit in with them the most because I like sports, but I didn't fit in with the jocks. We didn't have too many nerds, as you would call it, at my school. We didn't really have a lot of that because it was such a country school, but in a small school, you know, very small town. And I didn't really have that. So the main thing with me was Waffle House is open. It's the weekend. Look how packed it is. Hello. Packed house. But what makes it tough, what makes being a social outcast tough is I was I didn't have any friends in the jocks. I didn't have any friends among the nerdy kind of kids, and I really didn't fit in with like the band kids or any of that. I didn't really fit in with anybody. And what does that do to a person, especially when you're a kid? It makes you feel very rough. It makes you feel useless. It makes you feel very depressed. It makes you feel like you're not worth anything. And of course, obviously, goes without saying, you're very lonely. And I don't think people understand how hard it is, because I'm sure there are girls that have had this happen to them, but to me, this is a problem that mostly affects men or boys, when you're a boy, because I always noticed how hard it was to make friends. I didn't fit in with anybody, and then after a while, I just quit trying. And the reason I'm bringing this up, it's just like when you go to the bars and the clubs, and I can't say it's like that as bad in the city, but it really is when you live where I live, out in the country, and you're kind of just a small town guy. You go to the bars and the clubs because you really have just a couple, so that becomes the hangout, And I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this, if you're young enough, and anybody that's watching this video that's older, they're going to know. The bars and the clubs remind you a lot of high school. It's a lot like high school. You got the cool kids that have all the friends, and they're going to be the majority that's there. And then you're going to have the average people that they have some friends, but they're not the most popular in the bar and club. And then you're going to have the weirdos that just stay to themselves, like me. And of course, my situation is very complex right now, but I'm still basically alone. And you'll see a couple of them in the bar and the club. I'm kind of that way. And there's a couple other guys that come in there, that kind of frequent the place, and they're kind of that way. And what makes it so hard is when you're a loner. Sorry guys, I was itching. When you're a loner, and when you're basically a social outcast, you just don't feel like you're worth anything. And I think if there's one group of people that, I guarantee you, the majority of them were kind of outcasts, it was autistic people, especially autistic boys, and of course in the manhood. And see, my mom doesn't understand that because she was no outcast. My mom had plenty of friends. She wasn't the most popular girl, but she was average. She was a normie. You know, she had mostly friends. And if you have trouble making friends, especially as a man, if you have trouble making friends, you're going to have trouble getting women. It's just the way it is. And it's always a problem, you know, for men trying to meet women. And that's just something you got to work on. You know, I don't really know what all to say in this video. I can't make it too long. But try to work on making friends better. It's hard, because what makes it hard for people like me is I don't like the culture I'm in. You know, it's everybody's got tattoos, and girls are getting hair, and they look like they're from, I'm like Rushby, they look like they're from outer space, you know, and they blue hair and green hair and all this weirdness, and it's just like this garbage culture, you know, and it just, you don't fit in it. You don't want to be a part of it. And some of these girls, their attitudes, it's just, you know, acting like men and cussing like men. I don't like cussing a lot in general. You know, just blurting out cuss words. You know, F this and F that, damn, and it's just all the time. And I just hate it. But yeah, being an outcast, it's very difficult, especially for autistic people. And I just ask that you try to, you know, do the best that you can do. Try to make friends, because if you don't, you're going to really struggle to meet women, and you're going to really struggle in a lot of things in life. Getting a good job. But it's also tough when you're in such a horrible culture now. Makes it hard. I mean, I think in the 1950s, if I'd have been a kid, I'm not saying it would have been perfect. It was, especially if I was autistic, it wasn't going to be good. But it would have been better than it is. You know, it wouldn't have been like it was, or I should say like it is now. It wouldn't be as bad, I don't think. I'm not saying it would have been perfect. I would have had my problems if I'd been autistic. But autism hardly even existed back then. You would have barely even met a child that was that way. So, I don't know. Sometimes I think I was just born in the wrong time. But, what can you do, right? Not much you can do. Well, guys, that's about all I got to say. Take care. Sorry about my voice. I'm choked up for some reason. But like I said, if you don't hear from me in a couple of days, know it's because of all the weather we're going to get. It's supposed to be really cold and really bad. So I'll be glad to get that over with and be back to normal. Take care, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.